to be launching a tasty pastry. It's a low-carb Pop-Tart. It's got 3 to 4 grams of net carbs, and we love this show. This is our best place to be in LA.
Welcome back to Legendary Foods Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, and today is Tuesday, October 12th, 2021. And let's find out what's going on in the world of bodybuilding and fitness. If you've watched this show long enough, then at some point you've heard me say that bodybuilding is a what have you done for me lately kind of sport. Because in our little corner of the world, you really are only as good as your last show. That being said, when your last show was the Arnold UK, where you looked at your all-time best and pushed one of the best bodybuilders on the planet to his absolute limit the way Samson Dauda did 2 weeks ago, well, you don't mind being judged on what you did last. Samson was so impressive in that second place performance that I think it really opened up a lot of people's eyes to just how high his ceiling is. And when you look at some of the other shows that we have coming up later in the year, unless Nathan D'Asher is in that lineup, he probably goes in as the odds-on favorite, regardless of who else shows up. As of this morning, I can't believe we're about 5 weeks away from the Romania Pro, if my math is correct, which I believe it is. And that means that we're still about 5 weeks away from seeing Quinton Eriya really take the next step and enter his name into the conversation as one of the young athletes who are ready to make the leap in the men's open. As far as his size and conditioning are concerned, Quinton already looks like he's a mile ahead of where he was at this point in previous preps. So if he can dot the I's and cross those T's between now and November 12th, he should be primed and ready to step into Romania as a legitimate top 3 threat. If memory serves, I don't think we've talked about the Toronto Pro at all so far this year. And since we're still right in the middle of everyone's post-Olympia haze, now seems like as good a time as any. Which is why we're bringing you this brand new update from Adolphus Quioda. The former 212 Olympian has been MIA for the better part of the year, but a few days ago we saw news from his team that he was planning to make his season debut in Toronto this December. It's hard to remember now, but 2 years ago, after he won the Vancouver Pro, there were a lot of people who said that Adolphus was a possible top 10 Olympian. So if he can get himself back on track in Toronto and maybe even carry that momentum over into the next season, it might not be long before we start to hear his name pick up that buzz again. On yesterday's show, we talked about the Legion Sports Festival and some of the names that we're going to see on stage in the Men's Open. But if you are still on the fence about buying tickets, do yourself a favor and whip out your credit card, because you're going to want to see the performance that Missy Truscott is about to put on. Recently, Missy became the latest big name athlete to announce that she was planning to take her talents to Las Vegas 2 weeks from now. Obviously, it goes without saying that Missy is the odds-on favorite every time she enters the building. But considering the fact that she's already in the best shape of her life and that she'll only be 2 weeks removed from a wild Olympia weekend, it almost feels unfair for everyone else, because unless she misses her flight, it's hard to see a scenario where she doesn't walk out of there with the win. And that does it for yet another edition of Muscle in the Morning. I'm Dave Palumbo, reminding you to always be true to your passions, and make sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.